Hello, welcome to Talks with Moksha Mukti. So, this is a continuation from Moksha Mukti's talk this afternoon that took place at the hilltop near Spirit Falls of a Greyhawk subdivision in Frisco, Texas. So, the day was really windy, and because of that, the recordings, when I played it back, there were a lot of noises, distortion noises, wind noises that muted, my speech or talks. So I was only able to capture just a little portion of that, maybe 5 minutes of a maybe half an hour, 45 minutes talk I gave this afternoon. So I was only able to capture 5 minutes. So I thought I could come here at my home and continue this talk so that you did not miss what was being talked about this afternoon. This afternoon. Well, I spoke about basically two different things, two different core things that we have, that going on for us. You see, the true purpose or the core purpose of us human beings are: one is survival, and two is reproduction. That's what I talked about, right? So for survival, there are many things going on. You see, one of the examples I gave was the example of the houses that you can see from the hilltop. You can see houses 360 degrees, and they are organized well. And there is a small man-made something like a lake there. Even though there is a tremendous rain poured here in Texas, the almost whole month of May, even the rain poured, and you can see on the news they covered there are flood, throughout the state of Texas because of the systematic development here in Frisco. Everything was contained, everything was managed, so there was no flood. Even there was a lake that was nearby. And so that is one example of the mind, or the survival, functionality of survival that is taking place, and the involvement of the mental mechanism in order to accomplish that portion of survival, right? So that goes into survival. And I mentioned, the airplane passed by. It was a open field, so you can hear birds in the airplane, everything. So airplane passed by. So airplane is certainly development of the survival. You see, it falls into survival because human being needs to go here and there. So you're going in a faster speed. So that's part of the survival. And the other portion of that is the reproduction. So there are many activities that is taking place for reproduction, starting from male and female courting, trying to attract one another. So that is taking place, and there are other many functionalities and activities of reproduction, which I don't want to go into details. So that is taking place. So basically that's what's going on. You see, that is the core purpose of human being here on the planet, so a human being can survive and continue the process in the universe. So that is the core and fundamental and essential reason why human beings are here on the planet, or the purpose of the human beings on the planet. And everything else that is put on our head comes from the comprehensive collective knowledge we have collected since the existence of human beings on the planet. And since then we have collected this knowledge and gathered that knowledge, and we use that knowledge to condition our mind, right? So that is happening. So that is one aspect of the thought, or the knowledge is also part of the thought process that is taking place. Now, the thought, we put emphasis on the thought, we invested tremendously on thought, and that thought I mentioned earlier, that thought actually, there are two types of thoughts, right? So the first is the natural thoughts. Even the dogs, animals, birds, insects, they have some sort of thoughts, right? To find the food, to take care of their offsprings, and to function as a group of a civilization. Even ants have a colony underneath the ground, and they function systematically, and they have a structure, they have a hierarchy, they have a way of managing the community, managing the resource, foods, and all that. They have all that is going on, and that they have the thought to do that, right? Although there are tiny beings, their brain is very tiny compared to what we have, and even then they have some sort of mechanism and a structure that is taking place, that is happening in the under the ground. So that is actually is taking place. You see, that is the thought. Even humans, we have thoughts. We are born with some sort of thoughts, and that thought is natural thought. That thought is in that thought actually coordinates with the nature, right? So that is the natural thoughts, right? Then the second type of thought is that the thought we have that is collected, that is conditioned, and that is have been going on for many years through comprehensive collected knowledge. So once you collect the knowledge, and through that knowledge, the mind or the thought or the brain is conditioned, right? So all the artificial thoughts come from the conditioned mind, or the the knowledge or the thought that comes from comprehensive collective knowledge. So that knowledge, we have invested, that knowledge we have gathered, that knowledge we have fortified, and that knowledge is used to condition our mind, right? And each society is conditioned differently according to the comprehensive collective knowledge they have collected, and not every culture is the same. Every culture have different knowledge collection, but ultimately most of the collection of the knowledge are collectively similar, but not all of them. You can find different condition in different culture, and this different culture will interpret the what is happening, or what is the data we receive differently, right? So we have all this data that is coming in from environment, and you collect the data from your nose, your tongue, your eyes, your ear. All the five senses are being used to collect the data, and once you collect the data, the mind comes in and interprets everything that is happening, and each culture interprets this data differently. Some cultures may be similar, but some cultures may be differently, but usually they interpret differently, right? And that interpretation is because of the condition, which condition you are conditioned with, right? So that is happening there, but in reality it doesn't matter, because the data are the data. There are molecules, and there are tons of molecules that are dancing in the universe, and these molecules dancing in the universe are in brief relation with each other, dancing, right? Just like you go into dance floor and there are partners dancing, and that is taking place with the molecules that are dancing, and that is happening throughout the universe, and this dancing molecules is taking place, but because of the condition, we interpret those activities as this and this is that, this is the other that is happening throughout the universe. So I think that's all I want to talk to you today, those who are listening. Uh, if not, this energy is just expressing itself naturally, that is available to this speaker that is taking place. Um, yeah, that's all I'm going to express today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in our next session next Saturday, June 6th. Right now is scheduled at 3:15, but it may change, due to many variables that arises in the atmosphere and situation. So, but right now it's June 6th. This talks have been happening for every week from now on Saturdays, and for upcoming is June 6th at 3:15 p.m. So if you have a questions, you can send me your questions online on a Facebook and other inbox on other methodology. If not, you can directly ask the questions by calling in the conference number provided, and the conference code that will allow up to 100 callers to call one time to have this discussion or the talks. I don't want to say discussion, this is talks to take place. So that's all for today. We will see you next time.